All right. Well, Dirk, ask any 100 business leaders, you can do this, I'm sure you've done it in your past, for the most important drivers of long-term operational success and growth. And many, I think, are going to put technological innovation at the top of that list, right? I mean, if you ask, we've all talked to business leaders, we've interviewed them, we've had them on the show. They're all going to say, innovation, technological innovation is where it's at, man. We've got to do that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's not always the case. Why tech innovation isn't the answer everyone thinks it is the name of an article that appeared in the Quality Digest newsletter on Wednesday. And the piece was written by researchers W. Chan Kim and Renee Maborn of InSeed. Their recent book, Blue Ocean Shift, talks about their findings. That's a little interesting aside there, what the blue ocean they're talking about is.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah, I did a little reading about this, and some of it's mentioned in the article, and some of it you have to kind of dig a little deeper. So the red ocean is this ocean that's swimming with sharks. And the sharks are these competitors, and everybody is kind of trying to get to the same technological breakthroughs, and it's just much more limiting. The blue ocean is just open. It's open, there's not sharks in it. You have this opportunity to actually look at value as opposed to just the bare bones of technical innovation. The value innovation is what we're going to get to here. So the takeaways here are a couple. The first one they talk about is egg laying versus egg hatching. So what are they talking about there? Well, it's pretty much what we're talking about is the nature of innovation. Many times, companies are great at laying these eggs, at laying these great ideas that at some point in the future you're going to look back and say, wow, somebody actually developed that idea way back before it became well known and became profitable. That's an amazing skill. And if you have a team, an engineering team, a technical team, an R&D team, whatever it is, you have those people that can help you do that, lay those eggs that are going to be a foundation of great technological breakthroughs. That's incredible. But hatching the eggs is even more important.
Right.
So it's not so much...
Which bringing the ideas to life.
Bringing the ideas to life and bringing them to life in a way that can actually derive value for yourself and for your customers. And that's the next one. Technological innovation is not value innovation. And again, that goes back to that whole idea of technological innovation is the egg laying, value innovation is the egg hatching, is coming up with the idea and saying, where's the value here for our customers? For instance, a couple of things I talked about in the article. MITS, I don't know if it's MITS or MITS, is this company. They invented the first personal computer.
Oh, really?
Not IBM, not Apple. They invented the first, according to the authors, invented the first personal computer in the 50s, I believe. A company by the name of Ampex.
I remember Ampex.
Ampex first came up with the first video recording technology. I didn't know that either. Not Sony or JVC. So these companies, in the 50s, I think as well. I mean, so these companies are the ones that laid those eggs, but they never got the benefits of hatching them. They were hatched by other people that made a lot of money on those inventions. Value innovation, the authors write, anchors, quote, in this quote from them, anchors innovation to the value it gives buyers, not to the newness or cleverness of the technology, and is a cornerstone of market-creating strategy for profitable growth. In other words, innovation for the sake of innovation does little, if anything, to help companies actually dominate markets, and that's what you're trying to do as a for-profit company. You want to dominate a market. And just coming up with the ideas, even if they're amazing technological ideas, doesn't matter as much if you can't derive the value. You need to figure out how to generate and create the value from those breakthroughs that customers have to have, right? So how does an organization get value innovation right? The author suggests asking and then finding the answers to three important and I think rather interrelated questions. First one is, how does the offering make customers' lives dramatically more simple, productive, and convenient, or fun and stylish? So again, you're looking at what the market will pay for, what the motivations are to make a customer want to pay for that. And they talk a little bit about some of the technical differences. For instance, the Ampex technology wasn't really ready to be taken into homes like JVC or Sony was able to do it a generation later. So you have to look at it and say, okay, what can we do with this thing? We got it, what do we do with it to make it easy, convenient, fun, interesting for people that are willing to pay for it, and what's the price point on that too? That's important stuff. The next one is, how does the offering dramatically reduce customer risk? And these risks can be financial, they can be physical, or they can be emotional, and it includes reputational risk. So I mean, how does it basically relieve a problem or an issue or a stress point, problem point that somebody's having? Or how does it create more value for them in their life? That's an important one too. And then finally, how does the offering deliver a leap in environmental friendliness, including social consciousness that customers value? How does it make them feel better about where they are in the world? How does it make them feel better about being a consumer and do things that they want to do with their lives? I mean, all these things are what sales and marketing people do within those organizations, and not every organization is able to, we call it the translation phase, is able to translate what the R&D team comes up with and say, okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this in the reality of what our customers or potential customers are doing in their lives. What risks are we addressing that they're having right now? And what is this going to alleviate for them in their life? That's a really different thing than just creating. I mean, the other example they use is the example of the Segway.
Right.
Which was Dean Kamen, which was a huge thing, if you remember, 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Never made any money.
Yeah.
Never made any money because people were like, what do you do with it? I mean, do you bring it on a bus? Do you drive on the street? Do you drive on the sidewalk? What do you do with it, right? It's like, it's a great idea. It really was a breakthrough in many ways, but what do you do with it? I mean, there wasn't that element of connecting it emotionally to consumers that are going to buy it and shell out money for it and have them do something with it in their lives. That's really the key point.
Well, I mean, do they address it in there? I mean, sometimes innovation and ideas is kind of like pure science.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it's just for, and you may not have a use for it right now. But I mean, in the future, so maybe what they're saying is just because you've invented something doesn't mean you need to use it right now, because there may not be a market for it.
And there may never be.
And so, but you don't necessarily, you patent it and you don't forget about it, but maybe somewhere down the line you can take that, add it to another technology, and then it has value.
And that's great, and that's perfectly valid, reason for technological innovation. But the flip side of that is sometimes you don't know what you got either. I mean, the classic example of that was digital photography.
Right. Kodak.
With Kodak. I mean, we talked about it on the show. I've talked about it a couple of times where they were the ones who invented that technology, and then they didn't do anything with it.
Right.
Because they were afraid of impinging on their paper business. It's like, cannibalization is important. You better cannibalize your own business model or somebody else is going to eat your lunch. I mean, these are important questions to ask. I think that what you're saying is a little different. What you're asking is a little different from what they're talking about. I think they're saying that pure research, pure innovation, pure science isn't valuable. It's very, very valuable. It's actually the underpinning of all of this.
Right.
But what they're saying is if you're in business to bring products to market, that piece is more important.
Right.
Even if you don't know what to do with something, you should start thinking about what to do with it. You shouldn't just
you're spending R&D money on
a
this.
lot of it. A lot of it, and you better be doing it. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry is different because the outcome's always the same. They're going to get something to market that they're going to. It's not just like, well, this pill will fill a need in the computer business. I mean, it's very specific about what you're going to use this for. But some of these other technologies, consumer markets, are really complicated as to how you're going to be able to use some of this stuff. But you better
if it's really cool.
Even if it's really cool, you better have really good people working on that to figure out how to use it and bring it to market.
Yep. All right.
Yep.